You may notice I'm not live right now. You may notice that I'm playing yet another card game. You may notice that this is after me within the Discord saying that I view platformers the same way that other people view card games. And so in some way I understand why somebody clicks off of a game that is a card game. And I still choose to subject myself to card games because somehow every single card game does something a little bit different that makes you just ever more interested in what the card game is. We're going to be Gambit because I'm a card dealer. And we're just going to go for the most basic looking, whatever type of person this is. Apparently, you're British in this game. As far as I can tell, this is sort of what British people would want to feel like they are like, because this game is about an Arthurian legend, or the Arthurian legend, which I didn't know was a Arthurian legend, with the Arthurian legend. I didn't even know that the Arthurian legend was necessarily a full-on myth, because like many people, my first exposure was Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And that's funny to say because somebody somewhere out there takes great pride within the Arthurian legend and sort of the connection that they have with it. And that's a good thing.
King Arthur.
King Arthur, see?
Promised us safety on these shores. Instead, we found stormy seas, rocks like shark teeth, and treacherous mists. Those few who managed to land will be set by hunger, cold, and nightmares born of weirdness. My people settled around a gnarled old statue. Though we did not understand its origin or purpose, the enemy seemed to avoid it. That was good enough. For a time. In the end, the winds of weirdness only grew stronger, and the statue failed to protect the settlement. There was fear, despair, and then nothingness, as reality melted around us.
You awake to nothingness. All you can sense is darkness. A dense mass of emptiness so total that even your thoughts disintegrate. Then you hear whistling. An eternity seems to pass before something materializes in the darkness with you. Something angry.
Damn it, you weren't supposed to land here. Damn it all to hell.
The creature pauses for a moment, clearly weighing up some options. He taps a finger against one of his horns.
Now, listen, there's a lot to do and no time to waste. What can we try?
That's probably the best intro to a card game that you can ever have, is you go right from a cutscene that talks about a legend that all of us are somewhat familiar with, just by the nature of it being a fairly popular topic within mass media, and then going into a fully narrated sequence in the story where you're in a space full of nothing with a goat creature, and a narrator that is genuinely actually very good. This is Tainted Grail Conquest, a card game that has a little bit of a difference in terms of how it plays out compared to other card games. This was, as far as I can read, a card game that was adapted from a board game that they had made before. I had played this on the Xbox Games Pass, and the problem is that your save files can't transfer from Xbox Games Pass to Steam because it stores everything in a protected folder, and Microsoft says that I don't own my machine, and my folders on my machine, even though I paid for the machine and I paid for the license of Windows, and they decided to put like a file lock on that one folder because that's how the store works, and they believe that that's enough for DLC, for like a DRM system. But in doing so, it means that you can never really uninstall games either, and so you have like a 10, maybe let's say a 100 gigabyte log file. You have to actually just reformat your entire PC. It's a really huge mess. But what's interesting about this game is that it was so good that I decided to buy it on Steam. Also because it's currently, I think it's like $6. It's very, very cheap. What's happening?
Perfect. You can speak, and yes, these are really great questions. No easy answers, though. Sorry to disappoint. Now, listen closely. Are you ready? Brace yourself.
I'm braced.
Because what I'm going to tell you is rather important. You're gone. Your village is gone.
Everything.
Everything
My
you've
wife?
ever known is gone.
My dog.
Yes, everything and everyone.
Me too?
Including your very own self. as I mentioned already, however,
The creature taps 2 hooves together, marking a dramatic pause.
there is a small chance, an infinitesimally tiny chance, really, to bring it all back.
What's interesting about this game is that it's also one of the few places that I can hear British pronunciation of things, or maybe it's not even like British pronunciation, maybe just like English pronunciation of certain words, right? Not to say that I'm not speaking English to you right now, but it's the type of English that pronounces infinitesimally versus infinitesimally. And boy, oh boy, is the voice acting good. It enthralls you and it pulls you in. And it has one of the best hooks that I've ever seen with the game, where it just opens up this strange question of what in the world is going on. And that intro cutscene was very good because it starts out with this concept of weirdness. The word weird draws itself from the root word and the concept of weird. WYRD is sort of the translated form, but it used to be like a somewhat runic language, if that makes sense. And it used to be something that was roughly corresponding to fate or personal destiny, is what Wikipedia says. And it eventually sort of morphed into its new modern day meaning of something just peculiar or off, or it's just sort of different about it. Unusual, let's say. It was a word that would describe a lot of different situations back then, particularly around, let's say, magic and mythology, which is primarily what the Arthurian legends are about. And I had no clue. This game was actually the one thing that made me go, oh, maybe there's something there, because I've seen a lot of references to Arthurian legend, right? Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which that's a funny way of saying it. It's like... Like, what else can you say about that? That would... It's like saying somebody's first exposure to Christianity was Warhammer. You know what I mean?
You were saved from death in order to keep your reality from falling apart. But, well, it's not going to be easy.
Nothing ever is.
We must ensure that you're in good enough condition to actually do anything. Which brings us to the problematic part.
What?
Your body.
Damn.
You squint down at your feet and hands in the darkness. They seem perfectly fine.
Oh no. Oh, goodness me, no. That's just an illusion. I had to get you here somehow, didn't I? Otherwise you'd start talking about the afterlife and whatnot. And this, my friend, is not an afterlife. This is a total mess.
But
let's see what we can do. Here, this little trick should get us started at least.
And here we go. This is what makes the game amazing. Obviously, you can't interact with this quite yet, but the one thing that really drew me into this game when I saw it on the Games Pass and as I kept playing it was the amount of classes that you had in the game, with incredibly varying playstyles. Not just decks and cards, but even like the abilities that they have. The level of customization of your character, and the various different choices that you can make for your character. Because there's even like equipment customization through the use of runes and stuff. But even just the cards themselves, there's so many different varieties of cards and so many different things that they do that, you know, allow you to have so many different disparate and yet still themed similarly playstyles, even within the same class. But as a whole, what I found with this game is that you can never really be bored with this game. There's a huge overarching story and a lot of different story beats that it goes through that you get to experience. And the way that you experience it is with a very deep and complex card game framework that is not too dissimilar from other card games, but it's key to the idea... key to the reason why it's so good is that it simply executes that much better than I think a lot of its peers do. Right now, the only class that we have is the Ward Hunter, which is a part of the faction of the Children of Morgan. And I didn't realize this, but like Morgan or Morgana, Fata Morgana, this idea of, you know, this super powerful witch who is apparently the sister of King Arthur and the one who like saved him from near death. That's who this character is. It's why you hear this person's name and sort of this connotation between witchiness and Morgan in so many different games and media. Even Dragon Age Origins, well, Dragon Age as a whole, one of its most famous franchise characters is Morgan, the witch. Ward Hunt is focused on dealing as much damage as possible using quick strikes or powerful blows. The ultimate ability, which is something that all classes have, but it's interesting the way that this game has so many different mechanics that this sort of uh, realizes itself in very different ways. But for this one, it's very simple. Word Hunters call upon a piece of the weirdness to deal... actually, probably not Word Hunters, Weird Hunters. To deal massive amounts of damage to an enemy depending on the number of charges they spend. They charge your ultimate ability by landing hits on enemies. And your passive is every hit you deal leaves a hunter mark. 4 hits makes them vulnerable, which they take 50% more damage. So, already, just on looking at this, you can tell that there's a lot of complexity to how you would be able to play the game and how this character would work.
Well, it seems your soul isn't strong enough to be picky about its vessel yet. Don't worry, you'll grow. Now,
You'll
we
grow.
need to see whether my little trick actually worked.
The goat weaves his fingers in an intricate series of gestures. With a final flourish, he conjures a terrifying creature into the emptiness.
Aha, here we go. This is a powerful Avalonian warlock. But don't worry, he's not really here. Not in the truest sense. Your goal here is simple. Fight. Show me that you've got what it takes.
Show me. Now I need to lower the music volume. But this game actually has really interesting music. You can't hear me right now, probably, because of the music volume. Options? This game is very interesting music. It's very hard to describe, but it feels almost as if you hired like a coven of witches and like warlocks and like wizards, and you asked them to make the music that you would do to a ritual where you sacrifice somebody for meat of some kind. And it's got a lot of different flares to it that makes you feel like you're really a part of this game. Because this game, aside from the music, is also a visual treat that also makes you... It makes you realize that you're not back in London anymore. Sorry, I just wanted to make that joke. That's stupid. But in spite of all of that, at the core of any game is the gameplay. And the core of this game is the fact that it is a card game first and foremost. Again, it was adapted from a board game, so I can't imagine how this must have played. But here, it plays fantastic. Because you see exactly what every card does. When you hover over it for a time, you see what these different sort of elements of the card's description mean. And you see beautiful animations, fully animated artwork that sort of shows almost like a life to it. And every single enemy that you hover over, you have the classic intent description of what they're going to do, but you also get an idea of sort of what this character is, and even these various different stats that you see in the bottom. Everything is annotated incredibly well, as you would expect from a card game of such. And it feels like a very well polished package. So let's just attack this person a couple times. If there's one enemy, you can just click on the card and play as auto. My god, is that loud? Sorry, I didn't realize that this was so loud. FX volume, environment volume, sure. And we'll block. Block in this game is very interesting. Unlike blocks in other games where you typically build up like a shield, that one is known more as a barrier versus a block. And the idea of a block is that it negates an entire one hit per block stack that you have. Pay close attention to enemy attempts. Hovering over them will tell you what they do. This enemy will hit with 2 attacks. Yep, okay. It's a tutorial to teach you, like, okay, maybe you want different types of cards depending on what the enemy is going to do. I have 1 block. It only blocks 1 attack. I'd rather just stun them here and deal with them from there. You can even see that even something as simple as a stun has a lot of different interactions with the rest of the game. For instance, using stun again on somebody who is stunned will reduce its armor by 25. And armor reduces or increases damage that they deal or they take. That you deal and or that they take, but technically it's sort of the same deal. It's interesting because this game's stat system is fairly simplistic. There's not many elements in the game. In fact, there's barely anything. There's not many stats effects. You're mostly dealing with these 2 stats, damage reduction and damage increases or decreases. But it's the ways that you can interact with this number that leads to a lot of complexity. Go to sleep, Matt. Perfect. And this game basically is this flow. We've made him vulnerable because of our passive, so now he takes 100% more damage. But there's nothing we can really do with it. We're still building up, for instance, our Weird Hunter stacks by dealing more and more damage. Ideally, we would be able to do a lot more damage if we had more stacks, but it's a tutorial fight. early on, you don't have many options, but the game sort of grows like any other card game roguelike the more you play it by giving you more options. What's interesting is that these options don't require you to lose the game to start a new run. You may even find a fair number of options out in the wild, and I'll show you very, very soon, but that's sort of the interesting bit about this game, in that it's not just a roguelike. It feels almost like you're playing a full story game. Each class has an ultimate ability, which can be used once maturing. Importance: your ability will work well together with enemies' vulnerability. Well, I might as well do it. Tutorial's telling me to. It does a lot of damage, and we just go ahead with it. I can't block anyways. It forces you to take this 50 damage, and you just have to try and survive. And it will also give you a healing potion to try to help you. 2 blocks to stop his 2 attacks. We attack him, and we keep on going down this fight. The reason why I'm playing a card game is sort of similar to anybody's reason for doing the same thing that they like to do over and over and over. I enjoy this type of genre. Card games are fascinating in that they're roughly the same type of game no matter how you play it and no matter which way you slice it. It's just a churn-based game, but after playing Lunacid Tears of the Moon, I realized that all games are really boiled down to be a churn-based game. Like Pong is the ultimate PvE, PvE, PvP game. The enemy buffs his armor by 10. This means your attacks will deal 10% less damage. Make sure to check out all the icons here. And now we have skills that can reduce their armor down. So we do 1 to reduce down to 0. And we block both hits, because I don't want to get any damage. 2 for 20 is a lot. We stun here, because it's going to do 40. And we do 1 overhead swing. We lower their armor more and more and more, such that they take even more damage over time. Make sure you hover over... Yes, so don't worry. I won't be surprised. I know what's going to do. It's going to summon an ally. Overhead strike, 1 small strike, another small strike. We're really close to max stacks, by the way. As you get more and more stacks of this, it does more and more damage. And it scales. It's like exponential, where the latest stacks give you way more damage compared to the earlier stacks. Now he's got a lot of different enemies here. I'm going to try to use a small strike. See if my small strike can accidentally kill the enemy. Good. We'll do 1 block. Now I'm saving my massive ability to do it when he's vulnerable. 100% incoming damage, and it does 100 damage from the weird blow. The weird hunter? Sorry, it's just a weird name. It's just a weird name. Enemy just created a barrier, which is the traditional sort of shield armor that you would get within various games, like, say, Slay the Spire, right? And again, I know it's weird to compare this game to Slay the Spire, but it has left an indelible mark on the industry. Well, I'll just hit you anyways. Lower your armor down. Create a barrier. It won't count as a hit, but it still lowers the armor. I don't really know how that works, but it's sort of a weird thing, because overhead strike, I think, says you have to hit somebody to be able to do it. Last step, and you're on your own. Thank you. Please leave me alone. Make the enemy vulnerable. Play this card, and then hit them with your ultimate. Have fun. Thanks. You don't have to do that. You can just keep on doing it your own way. But it is a good combo, because Broad Reach makes your next hit deal 100% damage. And your skills, and a lot of this game is very similar to PoE in that respect. Everything that you do in this game has a very specific role and category and mechanic by which it does things. So this is very different from, let's say, I don't know, what's another game that would be very unclear? I can't really... There's been a couple games that I play where I'm like, I have no clue what's going on. But this is not one of those games. This is one of those games where you play it, and you know exactly how you messed up in some way. And that's the gist of a card game. And so at this point, you may be wondering, okay, well, what do you say about a card game at this point? You still have unused energy? It's fine. I can do anything. Well, that's kind of the problem, right? Is that with card games, because of how similar they are to each other, and how sort of simplistic feeling the gameplay is, at least from a surface glance, it can feel very, difficult to really get anything that feels unique within the genre. But that's sort of why these games focus so much on a metagame element, right? And this game is no exception, where a lot of this game is really in the metagame elements of how you get your items and how you improve your character, how you eventually improve the area that you're in, let's say, and we'll get too deep into it yet. And ultimately how you execute, you know, with your choices throughout the map that you're going to see very soon. This should probably kill. Never mind, I'm trolling. Okay. Am I really going to lose on the tutorial? No, I don't think I will. Look, he has low armor. He has minus 50 armor. I'm gonna be okay, right? Yeah, good. Have you been here before? Win the fight in the tutorial. What? Oh yeah, I guess it's funny that like the idea of you being in this tutorial zone, and it's like your first time doing this. The game has no clue what to do about you. It's like, how did you even do that? How is that possible?
Well, colour me impressed.
Well, colour me
Didn't
impressed.
expect that. Have you been here before and I just didn't recognise you?
Possibly.
Anyway, after that performance, I'll assume you don't need any more direction. So, I'll send you to your destination. Your main objective for now will be to push forwards, survive, kill the 4 Guardians. Then we'll talk.
Then we'll talk. Before we go, what happened to my world?
Listen, it's been 4 years since humans landed on these shores. 4 years of strife, fear, and hunger.
Name
At
drop.
least that's what you tell yourselves.
Of a
4 years
game.
of war you were
Another
destined
one.
to lose because even the mightiest human
Even?
wizards are no match for the Avalonians.
Seeing your expression, it makes an impatient grimace, stepping from one foot to the other.
The war you brought here? Well, it wasn't exactly going in your favour. But then that wizard, Merlin?
Merlin?
Well, he had an idea. Your king, Arthur, he had another brilliant idea.
Arthur.
Both stubborn mules, both playing with powers they didn't understand and were never meant to understand.
What happens to the voice line? The creature rolls its eyes. It feels like when you're in class and the teacher, well, this is sort of, I mean, I guess it really depends on where you are. In America, this is when you're in high school. In like other countries that have a better literacy rate, this is like, this practice ends around elementary school, so around the age of like 6 or 7. But it's when the teacher starts reading something and then they point to the word and then they look to their class and then they expect the whole class to say, the creature whirls its eyes. But in America, it's like, the creature whirls its eyes. Because you're in high school.
So we're here, in this corrupted reality, strung together with the last strand of somebody's goodwill.
Let's go. And now we enter the coolest part of the game. The outside world. Once this finishes loading. This might take a while. Hey, so that was my daily blue screen. It's not the game's fault. My computer will just blue screen once a day. I forgot about that. I had my daily blue screen, but now we're inside the main town itself. This is where the game is sort of interesting in that you are actually going to build this town up, and there's a map that you actually traverse. In fact, there's a whole lore and a whole world that you need to discover on your own and figure out what is going on. This is very different from most of the card games where they focus solely on the card game aspect. There's nothing really wrong with that, but I think the experience that these devs had with their board game, bringing it over into a card game and trying to translate that board game experience into this, really lent itself well to providing and creating something that stands apart from its peers, let's say. And I've heard that even their newest game, which is built upon the same sort of backing lore, the Arthurian legend lore, and sort of their own twist on it. Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon is also quite good as well. It's a bit of an Elder Scrolls-like that's very unique in its own way. And it's surprising how well they've been able to, I guess, engross me in the lore of what is the Arthurian legends.
Where your hometown once was, a lone man sits among the remains. He doesn't notice you. Only when you walk right up to him, he turns his blank stare toward you.
It's not my farmhold, is it? I'm from up north, the land of fog. I don't know what happened.
At least that's one thing you have in common.
A creature that looked like a goat told me I'd wake up in a strange place, and that I'd find someone in need of my help there.
The man looks at you for a moment.
I've already made some preparations and settled in one of the tents here. I can't offer you much at the moment, though. This place is different.
You don't say.
But you? I've seen an enormous creature out there. A golem of stone. The evil energy it emits is beyond anything I've ever felt. I'd say getting rid of that beast would be a good start.
In reading the legends, the Arthurian legends, and, well, it's really the Spark Notes, or maybe even less than the Spark Notes, just the Wikipedia sort of page on it. It's fascinating just how different this does stray away from the typical sort of way the legend's supposed to go, which is Arthur falls in battle, his sister brings him back to life, and then they go find, or like, and then gets a sword, comes back as like the king again, and then he starts fighting people or something. This one takes a very interesting bend where it feels almost like an eldritch horror angle, with the myth as the backing framework upon which the story is built upon. Where instead of something like Cthulhu in H.P. Lovecraft, this feels like a very English, Arthurian-styled eldritch horror story of its own making, which is a very fascinating way of looking at this. A lost soul. Talk to me. Who are you?
I don't remember, and I don't know what I'm doing here, or how I got here. All I know is I'm supposed to be helping you with your quest. All I know for now is that you need to find the rest of the people who are supposed to join us and help them out in their troubles. I don't know. Maybe it will come back? Maybe there's something that could trigger my memories.
And that's the best part of this game, is that construction, right? The card game itself is very competent, and I think it keeps you engrossed in what it's doing the entire time, because from a gameplay perspective, it's not just a solid card game, it is an incredibly competent and incredibly unique and varied card game. But it's also just the storytelling, the way that it's fully voice acted, the way that it's this like weird mystery of who you are, what's going on here, what is the weirdness, what is it to be weird, something that my chat is very, very familiar with. And what exactly is going on here? All these people and all these different sort of factions and characters and belief systems and all these different sort of like groups all vying for whatever it is that's going on here. You have whoever the goat person is, you have me and this lost soul. What else is beyond there? A stone golem? What creatures reside out there in this weird world? Which is an interesting way of looking at it. Healing and upgrades. It's also got a very interesting set of things that you can do involving stuff like quest cards or things like, you can buy potions and stuff. In fact, it even has like a full equipment system, which is very different. Well, somewhat of a full equipment system, but via runestones and a full item inventory full of even quest items. It's very different in construction from most card games that I've ever seen out there. Again, most card games are very Slay the Spire. You go in, you play the card game, and then you leave, and that's it. Very few of them do something like this, where you're playing an adventure game, where shit gets crazy.
Good. I caught you before you went out, all on your lonesome. Our mutual friend already told you to slay the stone golem. Perfect.
Perfect.
The golem is just a start, though. Even if you do manage to kill it, the further you go, the more dangerous the road will become. And since we're talking roads, you're walking within the weirdness now, and it's dangerous. Take these candles, light them up, and try not to let this damned fog close around you. Got it? Oh, and before you face the golem, look around the area. There's a blacksmith nearby who might be willing to join your village. Finding people like him will be crucial for your survival. Each one will be helpful in a different way. And with that, I'm out. Good luck.
Look at the construction of this conversation. Look at the way that certain things are highlighted. Information that you need to know. You're walking within the weirdness. Information that is important to you per the sake of the storyline. Oh, before you go, find the blacksmith. And it's up to you to figure out, what does that even mean? How do I even accomplish something like this? And you get quests and stuff? And what do you mean I'm going out there in the wild? Wait a minute, there's a whole map. What do you mean I get to explore this entire space? It's an adventure game of some kind? That's the beauty of this game that I really enjoy. Compared to most other card games, it doesn't just focus on the raw gameplay, which not to say that it doesn't focus at all. The raw gameplay is fantastic. It also focuses on the world that you inhabit and what it is that you need to do here. And also, it's funny to think that everything out here is because of something called weirdness. And it's funny because that's what they used to say back then. People used to say, oh yeah, these things are just weird. And it used to be its own concept. And then all of a sudden it became a word to mean that you're, I don't know, just weird. Whereas like back then it had more gravity and weight to it. But I like how this game uses the word weirdness because They didn't need to invent something like the Eldritch or the Cosmic. It's just weird, man. This guy looks really weird. And you get to walk into enemies, and you can even walk around them. There's no actual need for you to go and engage with many things. You can pick and choose what you want to do. It's all optional. It's so long as you understand the consequences of what it means to make something optional, which is typically a lack of experience. Especially when you deal with enemies that are very complicated and difficult to beat. So, baseline, you have 100 health. Most of your attacks do like 8 to 12, 4 to 6, let's say. The enemies are very strong too. This guy, for instance, gets stronger as he fights you. So the more and more that he fights you, the more and more that you hit him, the stronger he becomes. Sorry, it's actually still so loud. I don't know how to make it lower here. There we go. Well, when does it apply? I'm assuming it applied now. And it's every single enemy in the game has this complex series of conditions and states them that forces you to think, which in many other card games doesn't really happen. I'm gonna lower his armor here, which will make him stronger. I'll block once and I'll do a number of small strikes. Most games of this type, won't really force you to think too hard about what the enemy does. Which is interesting to say, because Slay the Spire does make you think about what the enemy does, but even what they do is almost simplistic in many different ways. Like, only the elites really challenge you, and the bosses to some degree, but a lot of the mechanics that they have, it's sort of interesting how little difference there is between a lot of them, and how most of your fights boil down to just beat someone up until they die, right? This game I found sort of the opposite, where it feels like it had roughly the same number of boss mechanics, but where it really started to shine was the normal enemy fights, where you'd have a lot more things that you'd have to deal with. On top of the fact that it has a very unique card game mechanic where the amount of a weird candle power that you have, it changes the type of random cards that you get as you play, and these random cards have different effects that will trigger when they get exiled or when you play them. So I'm gonna get the 50 armor here because I think that's much safer for me overall. Because I don't think I'm gonna go. I do get a stun. Good. I think I go for it. I do one overhead swing, lower his armor a bit more. His armor I think only stays for one turn. That's sad. But we can do this. We can do this. Overhead swing, small strikes, and we just finish him off with a single Weird Hunter. This is where the construction kind of differs, right? You now see that your character is an RPG character. You get levels, and when you level up, that's when you get a card. And then this is where you start to decide what kind of gameplay style do you want to have. That's very different, again, from other card games where you simply play and you get rewards no matter what you do. Whereas here, you had to sort of pick and choose. Do you want to push for levels? Do you want to push for, events? Do you want to push for safety? There's a lot of different choices that you have available to you. And you could even go back to town and maybe even spend a little bit more resources just to be able to survive. But everything has a cost to it. It's not easy to walk around. And the weird candle mechanic is an interesting way of forcing you to think about how you would want to use your resources. We have a Refreshing Breeze card, which gives you 1 energy for free, mind you, but you have to offer 25% damage this turn, so you do 25% less damage this turn. There's a Draw card where you can draw 4 cards. It's a stance, so it's just the type of card that's used most often for buffs and debuffs, but it costs 1, and even if I draw, I won't be able to really play. Shield Breaker looks very good, though. Overhead Swing is already currently a 1 hit for 50% damage and reduce armor by 10. This is just an upgraded version of that by double, basically. You also get perks, and your perks are dependent on your class, and there's a fair number of them per level that you have to choose that also determines how you play, which is fascinating. For instance, I can get Physical Trading. Duplicate every 5th attack type card played. I can do Heavy Opening, first hit in combat deals 20% more damage. Or Opening Strike, first attack type card played in each combat costs 0 energy. For longer fights, I think I'm going to go for Physical Training, but you sort of see how you can choose your different perks and how it changes how you might want to play. For instance, you might want to play for more combo playstyles. There's a card effect called Chain where the more you play, the more it does. You might want to go for like full-on damage, in which case you might want to go for like a Skull Crusher, which is like a 3-cost attack card, and use this to do like 200 damage. I'm all about the long game, right? I believe in the long haul. I believe that at some point I'm going to need to deal and think about how
It's a
much I'm
mystery
doing.
why these stones light up and banish the weirdness when people walk by.
Because of this.
Many believe Merlin himself invented the runes carved into them. There's also a darker rumor that they were left by the Four-Dwellers to lure humans into their domain, like moths to the flame.
The reason why I choose to go for this build is because I believe that in general, you're going to have to deal with longer fights more than you ever will get the first one-shot hit. Because a lot of this game is built around this idea of like gaining power and losing something in return. It feels like a lot of the events. And in doing so, you realize how little time that you have to just dick around and stay within a spot and try to optimize certain things. And you probably will have to go into a fight slightly unoptimized. It's one of the coolest things about this game is that you don't feel like you've made the wrong choice. You just sort of feel like you've optimized a different way, and that sort of optimizes differently for something. But in general, you're always fighting against the time of how many weird candles you have. And so you're always probably going to be on the back foot in some way. And so it's about you trying to figure out what is the best advantage for you in this moment for this particular fight. This is just sort of one particular choice. You can get a combat advantage by losing this milestone, and you get a random boost for the next combat. You also just choose to lose this milestone and get a candle instead. Or you can boost its range and make it even stronger, allowing you to move around with less candle loss. Now, right outside, I'm going to choose the temporary combat bonus because there's this dude, a treasure guardian, who's blocking these cards. I'm going to challenge him right away because he's a bit of a mini-boss, and it's probably best to know whether or not you're going to lose ASAP by trying to fight somebody and seeing how well it goes. Because why bother waiting for an end that is going to be fairly painful, let's say? Like, why bother going through this trouble of leveling up by fighting smaller enemies and then eventually facing this one enemy boss over here, when you could just go ahead and deal with them now and see what happens to you right away? I'm also not going to block any of his damage because I can't really. It's not really possible for me to. I also didn't realize that this is a different enemy. He's a deformed peasant. This enemy becomes stronger with every hit it suffers. What does he do, actually? This enemy drains HP from its allies, gets stronger when they die, and replaces them with summons. Oh, shoot. Oh, jeez. Okay, that's not good. This is going to do no damage. Let's do an overhead swing. He tends to attack all allies. And he's going to heal off of them for 24 health. But I don't think he's going to go first, so I need to try and kill this guy as soon as I can. Good, I got a lot of random hits. I can use the basic attack. Not that it really matters, but... was that a good move? I actually don't know. I have 2 potions, it's fine. He attacks only his allies, so I'm okay. This thing is alive. He didn't summon the spirit yet. He's a pitiful soul claimed by a soul harvester. I'm going to stun this guy. I don't think I can kill the soul. I'm just going to focus on reducing his armor as much as I can. Presumably he doesn't gain too much healing, I hope. But who knows. I have no good attack here. I'm going to stun once again. Overhead swing. I'm going to use this automatically by not playing it. Gain 50 armor on this next turn. Which is a good move because he was going to hit me and I didn't have any way to block it. So, shield break. Overhead swing. Small strikes. He is going down pretty well. Okay, well he's going to hit all of his allies and heal, but I can stop this. I can actually do something very, very good here. I can do a shield break, lower his armor. I can do small strikes, get to 20 stacks. Broad reach, double the damage. He's not vulnerable, but this should still maybe kill him. Yeah, just barely. There's a damage range on most cards that you play and most skills that you have. So if you high roll, it's good. If you low roll, it could be iffy. If the range is high, you're never really sure what's going to happen. Trap. This shrine gain 50 armor and stun every enemy that hits you. That seems really good, actually. That seems really good. Or Fist of Stone. Deal 1 hit for 200% to 300% damage and reduce the armor by 25. I could just be an armor reductionist, but there's a limit to how much armor you can reduce. I can also do double edge, retaliate with one hit, dealing 200% of damage received for the next hit. It's free, but I don't know if that's worth it necessarily. Whereas stunning somebody might be really good because if they hit you, you can at least stop their chain of attacks. And the other one is reducing armor is fine, but there's a limit to it. Let's get some treasure here and see what
was
happens.
Protected by this beast. A stash of gold and jewelry.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of resources too, like gold and stuff. It's not just weird candles and your health. There's also like a metagame resource, which is like I think these like weird stones, as well as the wealth that you need, like the gold that you need to buy things for your particular run.
When you filled your pockets up to the brim with gold, 3 ethereal chests materialize in front of you. Bringing your hand towards one of them causes the others to shimmer and blur.
That's interesting. Oh, I thought it was random. Okay. I don't remember seeing this. So again, I've played this game a long time ago, but I don't remember exactly which things do what and what events and like how events will play out. I'm going to get a new armor slot for runestones because this is sort of hard to explain, but this is very nice. When you get a runestone, which is I think when you get to the blacksmith, he's like the one person who gets you stuff immediately. And I think he's right there actually. Is that the blacksmith? I can't. There's no way to move the camera freely. I'm going to assume that that's a blacksmith and he's not doing too hot. There's also a fortune seller. Why are there so many different people in this one spot? Wait, what is this fight? Oh my god, there's 3 of them. Faith healer, the enemy can heal its allies. Mindbender, this enemy will spawn illusions of random enemies. Okay. I think we kill the illusionists because you never really want to deal with the illusions. I feel like illusions is always a very clear, easy answer of what you want to focus on. Because illusions are frustrating in that you never really know what's going to pop out, and because of how they work, they hit you once and then they disappear. Depending on what gets spawned, I'm assuming it might be really bad for me. So shield break, maybe just kill him. Okay. You know what? Yeah, just kill him. Can I? Oh, I can actually do something. Because my weird card, the weirdness card, reduced the cost of 1 skill, right? I should probably use a potion at some point, but I think this is fine. I'm going to shield break you. You look quite weak right now. I'm going to block 1. Oh, I'm not doing too hot. Okay. 1 block only protects only from 1 hit. Remember to pay attention. Yes, I know. I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. I am deciding to fight versus not fight. Deal 3 hits for 8 to 12 to random enemies. I can do 50% more damage right now. I should probably drink a potion because if all of them hit me, I'm going to die. Okay, through sheer luck, that actually worked. We gain 50 armor for this 1 turn. Stun her for next turn. She does no damage to me. Perfect. I also don't do anything too, though. So let's just stun her, because it lowers her armor by 25 if we do it all at the same time. We'll do shield break, overhead swing, small strikes. And we'll see if this weird hunter or if your abilities charges carry over. Because I don't know if your ability charges do carry over to the next fight. What is a fortune seller?
Good day, stranger. Are you in need of some guidance?
From you, any day?
It's a question asked by an eerie yet elegant woman who's just appeared in front of your eyes. She's of indiscernible age, but looks strangely disturbing, standing peacefully within the weirdness.
You can withdraw the course of your destiny and change the fate of your future fights. Come closer and see for yourself.
There is something interesting about the fact that anytime there's a character, one of the first things that they tend to write about is sort of their like age and what they look like within this game. It's fascinating because you wouldn't really expect that. Because what does it matter how old or how young somebody is in this land of death and undeath? I just need to know what they're going to help me with. Weirdness mushrooms. Nobody knows what will happen after eating one. Sure. Sacrifice 5% of your max HP, light a weird candle. Sure. Weird candles are actually, I do remember it being very hard to get later on, so having a blood candle is quite nice. And this is where the inventory system comes into play. If I eat this, what does this do? You can't eat it here. Oh, it's only a combat thing? Okay, well let's try eating it here. You won't hurt me, right? Too bad? Oh god. Sick man with contagious red death. Don't touch the skin too often or your hand will be infected with obsolete cards. Oh yeah, this is the other cool thing that this game does. There's a lot of different filler cards in this game that have different effects. And it's painful because these filler cards, you know, could either be beneficial or detrimental to you. And these guys in particular are very detrimental. And there's a faceless hunter who gets faster, who gets more and more hits every single turn. Okay, well we're almost at the duplicate. So I can do a fifth attack card. Overhead swing is probably the worst one to use it on. Whereas I could go for something like trap. I could then go for a weird mushroom. I don't know what this does. Bonus energy. Wow. And do a blood candle. I lose 5 HP. I gain a candle. Okay, cool. We block. Perfect. That was actually very lucky. Wow. Get blocked. Get blocked. Oh, right. Blocks don't cause hits. It's blocks and hits are different stats in a way. Like, it's weird that... Well, it's not weird. It makes sense. But that's why you just have to be careful about... If you intend to block and you intend to do something like trap, you have to let them hit you. Ow. Well, I reset him at least. Let's get this guy down. Do a lot of damage. He's dead. Okay, good. I think I'm okay. I don't need to use a potion. But these guys will fill my bag with a lot of shit soon. Like red skin. On Sick Man Death, lose 1% of max HP Ascend. Every time you play it, raise the cost of this card by 1 this turn. 1% for each red death card in your deck. What am I supposed to do? That's crazy. Reduce the armor of all enemies by 5. Yeah, by 50 this combat. Yes. Perfect. Okay. I scabbed. Your deck has been infected with obsolete cards. That was really close to dying. That's right. I was really close to dying there. Gain armor. I'm scabbing out. Jesus. Play these. Scabbing is fine. It's the other one that's bad. The infected skin, that's bad. Draw 1 card. It costs 0 energy this turn. Small blessing. This could be really good, especially if I have a very, very expensive card, and maybe you can RNG it. But even with my cheaper cards, it's fine to sort of trade this for something else. A crippling attack. Deal 1 hit for 75% damage. If the enemy intends to attack, stun it. Stun all enemies with no or negative armor. This one could be really good with my build, though. I do reduce a lot of my enemy's armor. But I think just more opportunity to do things is better. I can go for well-maintained body, healing for 25% of my missing HP after each victorious combat. Slow Thinker. Whenever you play 2 or less cards in a turn, your first hit in the next turn deals 400% damage. I'm smart, so no. Whenever you kill whenever you kill an enemy, draw 2 cards with its cost reduced by 1. I think we go for a well-maintained body. Healing is probably my biggest issue at the moment. I'm getting lower and lower. Hello, Seeking Traveler. Who are you?
He's just a lost soul, wandering between clouds of weirdness with a fading weird candle in his hand. His eyes light up when he sees you. You notice that he is not actually looking at you. He's looking at your candle.
Thank gods. Mine's almost out. Do you have more? Please. If you don't help me, I'm done for.
I have a blood candle for you. Although, what are you looking for? Tell me.
I have to find them.
Find who?
They're somewhere. I know it. I can feel it. And I need to be there. To be by their side. Now.
Now. I like how this game, even for side characters like this, has voice acting. It really lets you get into the feel of it because the voice in my head is Canadian and not English, and so it doesn't really sound as cool. Or not cool, sorry. Canadians do sound cool. Well, it depends. Like, if you're Letterkenny, I'm sorry, but you sound funny. Give him a weird candle.
Thank you. I promise to make good use of it.
Yes, I sure hope so.
Continues with his search.
Trust increased. So I'm assuming if trust increases in this game, I vaguely remember this as a mechanic, but I think they do eventually say, "Hey, I trust you enough. Let me go to your village." Who are you? Why are you alone? Armed Wanderer. Is that bad or a good thing? What screamed? What is this? Bounty Hunter. This enemy can add useless cards to your deck. Faith Healer. This enemy will spawn totems that buff its allies with the various effects while dealing damage. Okay, I'll eat the mushroom. Bonus energy. That's actually insane that I got that twice. Is that just a guaranteed bonus energy? Wow. We'll kill the healer. We'll do as much as we can. We'll try to deal as much damage to the healer as we can. I see my stacks didn't come over, so it doesn't matter. We should just use our stacks as much as we can. They get stunned on this turn. I block 1. Overhead Strike. There's a disturbance. I need to play this to get rid of it. What a shame. Small Blessing. I get a free block. That's good. I get to go for another block. Another overhead swing. I know focusing on lower armor seems weird, but I think it's better overall, because on the off chance that they get really low, you can just one-shot them. Yeah, we should go for this. I need to get rid of the Bounty Hunter first. He's going to fill my deck with shit. I don't want to deal with that. We go for Trap. Go for Disturbance. Tainted Force here deals 1 hit, or I gain damage on my next turn, which is probably more important. He'll be stunned anyways, which is good. I have a lot of armor to survive this. That Totem reduces the armor of all enemies at the start of each turn. Oh shit, I'm at minus 25. Okay, we'll block for free. Well, this is really bad actually. I'm not really sure about this one. I can just kill you instantly if I'm lucky. That was really close to being lucky. But this means that next turn I can kill them both with a single small strike. And this. Good. That went very well. I thought I was dead. But you see, like, this game, it's interesting the flow, where you have a lot of ways to come back up, but you also have very little ways to come back up. And so it's a lot of thinking about, okay, for instance, I could go back to the fortune shop if I have enough money to buy some more items, and maybe that will change my luck in terms of how I'm going to be going through these fights a little later on. But then it's the cost of my weird candles, because I have this entire section down here to go through, because I can see the golem all the way in the distance over there, but no golem over here, just a dude.
He holds 1 weapon in his hand and has 1 weapon on his back.
Geralt!
This strikes you as a bit excessive, unless he's a traveling weaponsmith. The blood covering his leather jerkin is not his own. It seems he can take care of himself.
Before you get any stupid ideas, I used to be a master-at-arms at Halfway. Trained many young warriors there. If you've gold to spare, I could teach you a thing or two.
Man, playing this game really does feel like you're just playing a story game, which is, again, that's sort of the strength of this game. Is it tells a very compelling story with a lot of very interesting events that make you think, oh, what is going to happen here? I thought I was going to fight him, but he's actually very nice to me. He's going to help me get a new card. Get 1 out of 3 advanced cards. Slow Sigh. Reduce the energy cost of 2 cards in hand by 1, which is really good for my build. Or Calm Breeze. Reduce the energy cost of 3 cards in hand by 1. That seems even better, actually. Or Pure Luck. Deal 1 hit for 300% damage. Gain 2 blocks. This seems like the best choice, especially because it's an attack. Every 5 attacks, I play them twice. Thank you, Armed Wanderer. You disappeared. Are you dead? I sure hope you're not dead. It'd be nice to see you again. What is this thing? It's fascinating that this game has a mouse control system too. Like, you wouldn't really expect that from a game like this. You expect a game like this to be sort of a static map, but I do like the approach with the weirdness, because then it sort of, it gives you the ability to map out your pathway and you can go back and forth, right? I think obviously Dicemancer has something like this, where the mechanic is very similar in execution, but it's with a static. But it's with a map that you would typically see within these types of games where you can go back and forth. And I think I do prefer that more, because this is sort of annoying to manage with your burn, especially if you go into a fight and it's like, how much burn does it take for each step? I'm not really sure. It's hard to internalize that distance value, whereas with a game like Dicemancer, you know that going back, that thing will move towards you a certain amount. It's much easier to gauge. It still feels pretty cool, and it makes sense when you think of this game as being like a card game converted into a video game. Can I talk to you before I fight this thing?
The ringing sound of clashing swords grabs your attention as you walk through the weirdness. You approach, but you find a campsite instead of a battlefield. Several men drink mead, as if nothing of note was happening around them. Others battle monsters. And something about the movement and behavior of these beasts seems strange. Until you notice a druid chanting something near the campfire.
The voice in this game is the narrator's voice in this game is so good. The way that they read it just made me wanna. It made me want to read ahead. You know what I mean? But not in a bad way. Not as in like the narrator is slow or something. But more in the sense of like the narrator, the way that they enunciate things and like the way that they say things, it draws you in and it sets up this question in your mind. And with their writing, it's such an effective way of making you incredibly hungry for what's next. Very curious about what's going to happen. I can fight something easy, which I'm assuming is something that they, just it's implied that it's something that they summon. Like I want a challenge. Hit me with all you've got. You know what? Just hit me with all you've got.
If you win, we'll reward you handsomely. But it's highly unlikely you'll survive this encounter.
Is that the British spelling of handsomely? Just like how we both spell honor with a U, except for honorable, which is weird. It's only with an O. Oh, I said I'll fight. Did I stutter? How hard could this be? What the hell is this? Suffering Lady. Praise for healing and it works. Uninterrupted prayers grow stronger, but beware of Lady's anger if you break them by dealing damage. Oh, shoot. This enemy's hits will heal it and increase its damage. Oh, shoot. Am I gonna die? 4 8x12? That seems absurd, no? Stun all enemies for 2 turns. Oh, thank God. If I didn't have that, I think I'd be dead. I could do 1 hit for 24 to 36, but I could also reduce some armor to try my best to get more and more damage onto them. The healer is one thing, but I think this guy, I need to really get him... I need to kill him now. If I wait too long to kill him, he's going to be a problem. Let's see if I can get the vulnerable and see how many times small strikes will hit this. Oh, no, she broke out. She's angry. What is that? 20 to 23. I'm gonna die. I don't know if this thing works. Like, do I stop his attack chain? Or do I just suffer the pain of him dealing that much damage to me? 6, 12, 18, 24 damage total. Do I risk it? It's a bit too late now, so might as well, yeah. Oh, fuck, I didn't realize she would also be live. Am I dead? Do you get stunned? Okay, do you get stunned? You do get stunned after the first hit. Oh, thank goodness. Pure Luck is really good here. I could do Pure Luck, or I could do Broad Reach, double the damage, 62 to 68. Small strikes. Try to maybe hit this. Okay, she's online. I didn't mean to. You are going to kill me, aren't you? Okay, well that was a disaster. Sorry, I didn't really look at what I was doing.
In the darkness, you hear a familiar voice.
Finally.
Finally.
Start the cycle of proper rebirth.
Finally,
A
you
different voice
died.
appears out of nowhere, and its owner is nowhere to be seen.
Be gone.
Ooh.
It is calm, inhumanly calm.
Can I invite you to the table?
Who are you?
You see a hooded figure waiting for you by the table. A chessboard sits upon it, the game in progress. As you take the free chair, you realize the creature has no face. A white skull leers from the shadows of the hood, a human skeleton draped with robes.
I admit, I'm not used to showing up in person whenever people die. That's too much hassle, with adjusting my presence to your current imaginations and whatnot. But let's say that your case is special.
What a buttery smooth voice for death. It makes sense, because you ever see that one movie, I think it's called Mr. Black, where Death gets a body and then he starts, and then it's, what's his name? What's that actor's name? Mr. Black? Is that the movie? No, what's the home of coffee liquor? No. Movie about death becoming human. What's this called again? Meet Joe Black, sorry. And then you have Brad Pitt. He just starts speaking, I think it's patois. I can imagine that it's very difficult to keep that sort of facade up the entire time. And I always imagine death as being sort of like a suave person in like a suit that's guiding you to the afterlife. Because for some reason, every single piece of media that you see, death is always depicted as being a very classy individual who sort of understands who you are. Because death is such an intimate sort of process that you go through that it makes death almost feel hyper worldly, if that makes sense. Like he's very, very empathetic to you, even though it's your time to go. He won't necessarily help you live, but he's at least aware of sort of the things that you leave behind. He's aware of the fact that this change from life to death is extremely jarring. And in that way, he sort of handles it very, very well. That's sort of like the typical media trope, right? Whether it's in Meet Joe Black or the meme of like the dog going to heaven and then death is like, you've been a good boy. I like how this game also has that character archetype being played out here with a very suave voice that really works well, I think. I'm dead, you're death. This is obvious. You're who?
Yes. And yes to that other question, too.
I like how that was a very smart way of handling both.
Technically dead, but there are certain things that prevent you from, let's say, being properly gone. Recent events had consequences going beyond the intentions that sparked them.
Ooh.
And now we're stuck in this unfortunate predicament because time, as you know it, is irreversibly corrupted.
I'm also liking this characterization of death of being somebody whose day job has just been made that much harder. Because yeah, like a lot of people die every day for many different reasons, and I like how this one is like death is annoyed that he has to take his time out to deal with you specifically because somebody's messing with your time flow. Why did he invite me to play chess too? Like, I get that chess is sort of like the timeless game, but if we assume that death is an entity that has almost like a timeless feel to him, right? That he sort of exists in all aspects or all eras of humanity and life as a whole, wouldn't he choose something like Castlevania or like, where he gets to be like a villain or like, I don't know, like maybe death is in the Fortnite. You are never like you don't really know. Recent events?
One king commanded a great army in order to conquer an island.
That was King Arthur.
Another king pushed back with an army of his own.
Kind of wish that the narrator would talk about the moving pieces.
One wizard wanted to beat back powers he didn't understand. And the creatures of this island fought against them, using magic that wasn't meant to be used.
You realize the pieces have reached a stalemate.
I've actually read up on this because I was wondering what exactly is Avalon, because the newest game is the Fall of Avalon, and I've heard of this idea of Avalon and the concept of the place in many different games and many different places. Apparently it's like this mythical land full of creatures and magic that we can't even comprehend. And I think specifically that this land that is within the real life Arthurian legend, I think this is that land, or at least what the developers have sort of transformed into it.
The past and the future are happening at the same time. All that you see is an echo of things that already happened or eventually will. Presented without inherent sense, without purpose, without any logic.
You see 4 figures on the board changing shapes into forms of beasts, and a moment later, they dissolve into dust.
You must slay the Guardians and keep slaying them until you reach the source, conjuring them out of the weirdness. Their deaths will make you stronger. This will lead you to your destination.
It's funny that he says that everything is an echo of the past and the future, because you could say that about anything. Like, you could literally say that about anything, and you could use that as an explanation for everything that's happening to you. Like, I could say that the things that you're going to see me do later on or things that were always going to happen, and that the future is already being set as a justification of what's going to happen, even though none of us have any clue what to do. I don't think this death guy is very good at his job. I'm assuming I get 2 cards here because this is the unlock meter, and I do. So I get pure luck as a part of the random find. These cards and packs will be available over the course of your runs. Cosmetic items added to your wardrobe available via the seamstress, of which I never got to see because I don't think the Games Pass version had her. You get Rage, which is every turn until the end of combat increases damage by 25%, and offer 10 armor, which means I guess every turn you lose 10 armor. Or offer 3% of your max HP. Self-inflicted loss of resources or statistics is what offer means. And you pick 1 card from draw, which is pretty good. I guess you just get all of them. But it's random which one you will sort of get as you play. You'll get these passives. Blooming Death Flower. Whenever you hit deals over 0 damage, apply vulnerable. That seems incredibly good. Wow. Brawl is also amazing. Increases the maximum number of ultimate charges by 10. You charge for longer, it takes longer, but because it scales exponentially the more you have, this would result in a lot more damage. Alright, cool. So these are your major objectives in the game, things you need to accomplish in order to unlock the ending. Villagers recruited, souls saved from corruption. Find the true boss fight, which is a secret boss fight. I wish it didn't tell me. But now you get to see what you're playing with here, in terms of how many different things you can do in this game and what you can find to enhance your gameplay experience. 41 passes for the Weird Hunter. For every single class, it's about 40. So every single class has about 40 different perks and passives that can that can change how you play the game, and 6 masteries. There's various factions, of which there's a card for every single faction. So you see how there's 3 factions, and there's a number of classes, and you saw how the Weird Hunter was a part of the Children of Morgan. This is that, but there's also cards that don't fall into any faction, which we've seen. Or well, you will see. I've seen them before in my Games Pass playthrough. It's also 74 enemies, 8 bosses, tons of NPCs, all with scripted voice lines and story plot points, locations and items. It's insane how good of a story game that this is. Pick a blessing for your next run. What? I don't need a blessing. Start with 200. We'll start with 2 more healing potions. Start with 20 max health. I would like more money. Again, you don't really expect this from a card game. You don't really expect this level of story development. You just sort of see the game and you go, this is all you really get. It's like most games end up like Slay the Spire, or something like Tales and Tactics, or like Tales and Tactics even, where you're just playing the game. You're not really thinking about the implications of like your actions and your role in this land. You're just playing a video game. This one takes it to that next level. Difficulty level. Basic fights, basic enemies, basic bosses. Easy mode. No. I want to do like real shit, man. All wrapped up in this package of a very interesting setting with honestly beautiful art that feels very interesting. It doesn't feel like your generic fantasy. It's the same way that Dragon's Dogma 1 used to make me feel, that was sort of lost in translation once you get to Dragon's Dogma 2, where all of a sudden things feel much more generic fantasy. I like when it has its own particular bend to the way it should feel like, versus going for the typical sort of, there are orcs and goblins and elves and grass and trees and stuff like that. Like, yeah, like a weird eldritch dead god world based around just English mythology, and perhaps even, just how it is like in, at least from what, let's say Nagi tells me about how it is over there. It feels like this is a much more compelling premise and a much more interesting fit for what this story is, versus a generic fantasy slop story. Talk. Okay, you don't want to talk? Alright, cool. Okay, you have nothing for me? Alright, ask to be healed? Alright, bye. You're useless to me. I'm gonna save my money. We go out and we venture. The map has changed a little bit. There's more trees. I see an exclamation mark over there. But I kind of want to go... Is there a way to see the entire map? I'm not really sure, but kind of want to go... Oh, yes. I would rather go to the right side. The boss is on the left side. I'd rather go to the right side and slowly work my way back to get some EXP. Let's kill this guy over here. Which, granted, these early fights are very easy, but let's see how it goes. This is the one who gets stronger after every hit. I have no block, really? Stun, swing, go. Block? Okay, I know I can use blocks. Why is it giving me this tutorial? I'm not that bad. Good at. See, I'm not that bad. Deal one hit for deal one hit for 300% damage to all enemies. Offer 5 HP. That's really good. Inhuman utterings is very interesting because charge your ultimate ability to half of its max charges. It seems very interesting when you're below charges. You can use it very early on. And it's a good way to recover the charges even after you use it. Double block is really good for this and next turn though. But I think we go for this because I did unlock a new perk which allows me to get more ultimate charges max. And look at this. Whenever you hit an enemy, reduce their armor by 3 until the end of combat. Instead of each turn, gain 2 ultimate charges. First hit in combat deals 200% more damage. I think we get more ultimate charges. That's a free choice. It's such a good synergistic choice with the card that we just chose. This build is already looking pretty good. And you see how like my playstyle is very different now, right? If I went for the hit thing, I could have gotten a good armor reduction instead. Especially if I go for multi-hit cards, like the 3-hit card, the basic strike or something that I have. Or I can go for the ultimate, where I go for the 1 large hit. But I might go for like a 1 large hit, not in terms of damage, but in terms of like a consistency of being able to access it with the ability... Sorry, with my vulnerability passive. Like, there's a lot of different ways that you can play this character, and the choices feel meaningful. It doesn't just feel like, oh, plus 1 or 2 damage, although some of it can feel like that. A lot of it feels like you're defining how you want to play your game. I'm gonna get a weird candle, because I don't know what's next, but... Futhark and a dude. There's a Futhark and an LB Archer, okay? Okay, who are you? Becomes stronger with every hit it suffers. This one just does damage. Use a candle now. Get some weirdness going. I do like how you can use items in the middle of combat, even though it's a bit weird to think of. You are going to be quite strong. I'm hoping you attack first. I can't believe you didn't attack first. Okay, well. Charge your ability by half its stacks. 2 half its stacks, so it goes up to that amount. That's unfortunate. I thought it wouldn't do that. Stun you. I thought it would give me half of these stacks, but if you're... It just puts you right at the half mark. That's actually interesting to see. Blocking here is a safe choice, because it doesn't really matter what I... Like, it doesn't matter that I don't attack because of my ability to get charges at every turn. 40 to 60, I can kill him right now. I'll deal with this guy by myself. With my blocks. Good. Okay. Inhuman Uttering. We use that now. Perfect. Reduce the damage of all enemies by 100% this turn. Doesn't matter. Next turn, I'll get a bonus 2 cards, get their cost reduced by 2. That's really good. Which is Overhead Swing. Small Strikes. Small Strikes. He's dead. Like, you see how different my playstyle is from the last one now? Now I'm thinking about how to best maximize my ultimate. Versus before, where it was like, I didn't really know what I was doing.
Find an elderly archer sitting near a small fire.
Yes.
He tends the flames with care and tenderness.
Oh, a visitor. I haven't seen a friendly human face for a long time. It's getting lonely out here.
With a gesture, he invites you to sit with him.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Who are you? What do you do here? I think it's always good to ask someone's name, because this is a bit of a psychological life hack. If you ask for somebody's name, they feel like you care about them, even if you don't necessarily care about them. And then you ask them the hard stuff, like, do you feel like you're alive in life? Or do you feel like you're missing anything from your life?
The question shouldn't be who I am, my friend. The question should be who I was. Because right now, I'd say I'm pretty much nobody.
Well, I feel like that too.
Not much. I tend to the fire.
What do you do
watch
here?
over this place. Since I failed to fulfill my task, I need to sit here and watch the fire. I don't want to, but I have to. I'm certain something terrible will happen if I stop.
Well, how do you know something terrible will happen if the fire goes out? Like, how do you... I guess that's interesting. It's a bit like... It's a bit of a conundrum, right? You've been tasked to sit here and watch the fire as punishment, and they tell you something bad will happen if it goes out. But because you never know if something bad will ever happen, you just do it because of some fear of the unknown. But what if... Like, if you knew that nothing bad would happen, you would leave. It's because it's unknown that you're forced to sit there. It's almost like the punishment is the anxiety. You failed to fulfill your task?
Well, that's definitely a story for another time. But I do appreciate you asking.
Hey, good. See, that's how you get people to trust you, is you ask them questions. I'll sit by your fire.
As you sit by the archer, you notice that this fire doesn't behave like a regular fire. It has the power to push weirdness away, just like a menhir or a weird candle.
What?
Moreover, you suddenly notice that the man's legs are rooted into the ground with blue veins.
Oh.
The veins stretch from his feet into the fire pit. You form a question in your mind, but when you look into the man's eyes, you realize there's no point in asking it. His gaze is absent, and his movements are barely noticeable. You decide to leave it for another time and turn your eyes towards the fire. The flames flicker with a weird, magical rhythm.
It's horrifying because it feels like this person's suffering through something that, you know, you can never really help them with, and it feels like they don't even recognize it, really. And it's crazy how good the horror concepts work, because it very much reminds me of something like, you know, Darkwood, where it's like a very, very interesting, complex horror concept that isn't stereotypical in any way, that feels very unique to itself. This idea of like arborification, the idea of like turning into like a tree of some kind. It's a very weird and sort of unsettling idea to grapple with. Lose 10% HP, remove one card from your deck by wishing to forget. Wish for experience, losing 10% HP and gaining a level. Or you can wish for a skill and gaining a random legendary card. Of course. Offer 10% of your HP, reduce armor of all enemies by 100, and stun them. Blood Ritual. The recharges, once you use all charges, the card disappears. That's pretty cool. And that's what I mean by the neutral cards. Those neutral cards that you find, those you can have in any deck, no matter what it is that you play. So, Foothark, what are you doing here? We can do an Inhuman Utterance. No, is it worth it? This guy hits me 3 times, what? This enemy's power changes depending on your ward candle's burn level. What? Does it get stronger or does it get weaker? I can't really tell what that means. But sure, we'll do this. He's gonna hit me a lot, so it doesn't really matter how much I block. We just go for as much damage as we can, really. I feel okay, I think. I don't know. What do? Reduce armor of all enemies by 25% for 3 turns. Sure. Blood Ritual. I don't know if I should stun them. It feels like a waste. But I can't stun them now. I can do Tainted Force right now. Next turn I get 2 of my ultimate charges. And he stops attacking this turn. And I can now do Broad Reach, one-shot this damage dealer. And then I just get to focus on this guy. Perfect. Perfect. This is a pretty broken build. Do this. Don't use it yet, because I want to save it for when I need those charges and I need the AoE stun. For now, just do something like this. We're in. Double Pain. Wow. Duplicate the next card played. I don't have any good cards, really, except for maybe Blood Ritual, but I don't know if that's a good thing. Does it, when you duplicate the next card, does it lower the charges twice? I'm not really sure. But reducing armor by 200 in a single turn does seem good, although there's a lot of conditions to make it work. Shield Breaker is just a better overhead swing. It's like double the stats, right? Random attack. Deal 1 hit for 150 damage to a random enemy. Stun a random enemy. Reduce a random enemy's armor by 50. This sounds amazing. If it's one target, you just do all 3. Hello, Foothark.
The sound of clattering rocks disturbs the ubiquitous silence. Approaching the end of a path, you come upon a child playing with some oddly shaped stones.
This was me as a child.
I'm Futhark. I'm waiting
Futhark.
here for my mother. She's been gone for a while now. Or maybe she's going to leave soon? I have a lot of these stones, and while I wait, I play. Do you want some stones so you can play while you wait too?
I can't tell if this is a child. Like, I can't tell if they do sound like a child or if they sound like an adult playing like a child. All I know is that this child has to deal with the fact that their mother's probably dead. I will take a random rare runestone. That sounds amazing. One cracked sigil. So runestones, which we haven't even found the blacksmith yet, but it doesn't really matter, are things that you get that you can equip onto your slots, and you get more slots depending on your choices, that then allow you to have different effects. So for instance, now, I stun a random enemy after playing 15 cards. That's really, really good. Futhark died, so he's gone now. We go up here, we do this boss, I stun every 15 cards played, and it's basically impossible for me to lose. What is this? This enemy will attack his own subjects to heal himself and try to debuff you. Undying subject. This enemy will resurrect after death and attack its master once before the old habits of loyalty and devotion kick back in. So you want to kill his little dudes in order to force him into a bad state. Okay, that's interesting. I have one block. I can do a random attack stun. Let's see what happens. He got stunned. I can then do a block on someone. Let's do this. Next turn, I get 40 barrier, which is a shield, which is good for me. Eventually, he will kill his own allies. So, this guy does 40 damage and we will heal. What? Oh, shit. Get 2 blocks in. Play it safe. Good thing I have blocks. I'm very glad this game has blocks where you can't... like, it's not like you need a specific amount. You just do the block, and it's good. Do that. He'll hit him now for 15. I'll block just this one guy's attack. Do a lot of damage. Good. I don't think this is a good mechanic, well, or like a good way of me playing this mechanic. I think I need to focus a lot on just dealing damage to the main dude. Because me hitting his servants, they only do 15 damage. Whereas me, it's like... eventually, I'm gonna die from his dudes hitting me for 22 and 23. This isn't good. Good. Okay. 66. What the fuck? I think we have to. It's a random attack. Who do I stun? I stunned him. Wow, that was actually perfect. I can't stun him, but I can actually kill him by doing this. It's guaranteed. And then I get to keep my charges. Good. I get to keep my ultimate charges. I get to slowly build up. 3 people are going to hit me. Not good. Well, then we do... I think I know what to do. I'm going to try to get him to be vulnerable by hitting him like this. Small strike if I'm lucky. Didn't activate. This is going to hurt. But I've already gone too far. I can actually use this on him. I lose all that damage, but it doesn't matter. At least I'm alive. The key is that I'm alive. And he's going to hit him for 54. Oh, I get it now. You want to kill them when they get to a certain point, and then they do the damage for you. The damage that they would have done to you is now being done to their boss. I get how to play it now, but it was a bit too late.
You
Good treasure.
found what was protected by this beast.
So same
When
dialogue.
you filled your pocket.
Same 3 chests. Okay, well, I'm going to get a new weapon slot for a runestone. I should have gotten the word shards, the weird shards, because that's how you get a permanent boost. What is that? We'll go here, we'll loop around, and then we'll go down and around. Fountain of Health. That's good, actually. Wait, that's really good. What do you? This enemy attacks everyone on the battlefield. That's only me. Sure. We'll do this. I gain 10 armor for next turn. Oh, he also attacks his ally. Oh, he attacks his ally. That's actually pretty cool. Again, like, it's interesting to think that there's so many different enemy types here, because each and every single one changes how you would play the fight out. Because it attacks his own ally. It's like you can use him to fight his own person. There's no need for you to deal with his ally. He'll kill his ally eventually at some point if you play long enough. Whirlwind. Deal a 1 hit for 75% damage to all enemies. First slash, deal a 1 hit for 75% damage free. Or retaliate with 1 hit, dealing 2% of the damage you receive from the next hit. But you can't block a hit. Like, you have to be able to hit by it. To be hit by it. I think first slash is better. I could have skipped the 2, but... Whenever you hit an enemy, increase your armor by 7 this turn. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You found some health.
Early explorers of Avalon found many springs with supernatural properties, including ones that could heal. Not many of these miraculous creeks are left these days, since most were drained dry to provide water supplies for Arthur's soldiers.
I'm going to drink the holy water. Is this a bad thing? I'm not really
You
sure.
immediately feel refreshed. However, you feel a strange chill running down your spine like an icy finger. It might not be safe to stay here any longer.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. You know, take a risk and drink some more. Okay, I should have known. What is this? So, illusion spawner, perverted life force. This enemy will negate every hit under a certain threshold of damage. You also deliver a certain amount of hits to temporarily get rid of this buff. So 4 negated hits in a single turn negates every hit under 12 damage. The enemy's power changes depending on your weird level. So I think we kill the illusionist, and then we kill this guy. Either way, we're in a bad spot here. Gain armor, good. Just do as much damage as I can, because I gain armor the more that I hit for this turn. 2 blocks, 1 attack. I'm already almost at max stack, so this should be okay. First slash, good. Get a free attack. Random attack, stun someone. I don't even care who. Small strikes, kill the clone, naturally. 50 to 60. What are the odds, right? That I kill her in one go? If I high roll, I low roll, but that's still fine. The key is that I don't take too much damage, and next turn I can kill her, and then I'll be okay. Maybe. I stunned the shit one. Good at. But now I take very little damage from this guy. Because of my armor. That one was stunned, so I don't get hit by him too. Tainted Force. Reduce all damage of enemies by 50% this turn. That's really good. Because I have nothing to save me from being hit for a lot of damage. Small strikes. Get some more armor. Just stack up as much as we can. I still have 2 potions, but I don't want to use them yet because this fountain, I don't know how much it's going to heal me. Good. Perfect. Broad reach. 24 to 36. We slam him. It goes through the negation, which is really good. Now it's just a matter of charging and waiting, really. Just getting as many charges as I can and slowly building up to when I can just one-shot him. Do a random attack, do an overhead swing, he's stunned, and then we just one-shot him. This is the best build ever.
As the waters heal you again, the spring runs dry.
Yeah, is it healing me, really? It is. Wow, that was worth it. That's why you don't use a potion. That's good. Okay. Training grounds. So same thing. Can I actually go to talk to them before? Yes.
Train if you've...
Hit me with all you got. I'm gonna win this time. I have full health. What's that? Enemy will attack only once every few turns. Oh my god. Defending against its attack will severely reduce your armor. That's really bad. Because he's going to eventually outscale me. The Mind Bender. This enemy will spawn illusions of random enemies. They're both really bad to deal with. Stun a random enemy. If not played, next turn gain 5 barrier. Well, sure. Let's just do this. Get stunned, and then he's immune to stuns. Really? That's crazy. Use a candle so I get better weird cards. He's just staring at me menacingly. He's getting stronger and stronger. I think he's about to... He's about to shit on me. I need to kill her before she summons. I know it's a bit of a waste, but I'd rather do that versus dealing with the summon. Because then I don't mind blocking here and losing a lot of armor because he only attacks a couple of turns. He's really the only threat. Only attacks once every few turns. Deal one hit for 27 to 40, or next turn save for more. I think I save for more, because then eventually I can do this, plus the Weird Hunter. This does 59. Holy shit. That's so much damage. Small strikes, random attack. Can't stun, but it does so much damage and reduces armor. Overhead swing, Inhuman Utterance, good. Maybe should have done that in the other order, but it's fine. We made it. Easy. Block the next hit of a chosen enemy. That's a very good card, because usually it's just whoever hits first, and I don't know the order. Reduce the enemy's armor by 50 and damage by 10% for the next 5 turns. That's incredibly good, but it doesn't do any damage, so it's really just a debuff. This one, though, every turn until the end of combat, increase your damage by 25% and offer 10 armor, which is great because every turn I get armor.
Here's the promised reward.
It's part of my hits.
But if I
Polish,
may ask this of you, lend me your ear for a moment.
Well, you just gave me the ear, so sure, just take the ear back. Why did you give me an ear and then say, lend me your ear?
A favor. You can handle yourself. So I figure you won't be afraid to handle something that no sane person would ever agree to do. Somewhere out there, you might encounter a certain knight. A creature of enormous size and even more enormous appetite. I have to ask you for help to convince this creature to come back here.
Sure. Alright, but why? I've never met this knight before.
That's a long story. But he belongs here with me. Here, I can take care of his condition and keep trying to heal him.
What's interesting about this quest system is that I wonder if it's guaranteed that you'll see these characters again, right? Because if it's not, in a way it sort of feels like what Blueprints eventually sort of felt like, where you would randomly encounter certain cards and certain pieces of the puzzle that you would need, and if you don't get them reliably, it can feel frustrating. Which is interesting because for this game, I think because of the voice acting and because of the way that the puzzles are, I don't feel as upset at it because I don't feel like I'm struggling as much. In Blueprints, it's like if you don't know anything, it's very difficult to move on. In this game, it's like, oh, at least someone talks to you and it feels cool and it makes you feel better about yourself. Sure. I didn't read, sorry. Oops. Force Sentinel, enemy redirects damage from all of its allies to itself. Infected human. This enemy's shape and the pulsation of its body suggests that you should prepare for an explosive surprise. That's not good. He's gonna blow up on me. It's gonna hurt, actually. A lot. I'm currently raging. Nice. 25% more damage. We do a overhead swing onto you. Reduce your armor. This is just a bunch of random strikes because it doesn't matter. You take all the damage. Okay. I need to kill you, and then I need to be able to kill him right after. This is going to do 60 to 90. It's basically a Hail Mary if this lands correctly. Holy shit, 81. I barely got over it. Because otherwise he was going to blow up and I don't know what that does. You are probably the blacksmith. Here we go. What are you? Ah, the sick man. Right, with their contagious skin. We go for rage, which might be really, really bad, but it's fine. We do a random attack. We have Red Death. We play 1. I don't know why I get stronger all of a sudden. I'm not really sure. I need to read the cards. What does it do? On sick man death, lose 0% of max HP per Red Death card. Right, okay. Lower your armor. This is incredibly... Every single one increases in cost the more you use it, too. I'm gonna lose so much health. No? Sure. Okay, well that hurt like crazy. Wow. You get stunned. I didn't touch him with a hit, so I don't get sick. Now scabs. First slash. Red Death. Broad reach. One shot. You. Cool. Stunned you. Random attack. Stunned you, and you're dead. Okay. That one's gonna eventually become a problem if I don't manage it well.
A song breaks through the slithering of the weirdness.
Hello, blacksmith.
I have no hope, no home, no gold. Mine is but misty morning cold.
Not long afterwards, you come upon a man wearing a blacksmith's apron.
Oi, traveller. Want to buy a good anvil? 'Tis all I have, I'm afraid. Me home, you see, went poof. 1 minute there, next minute gone. I found myself here, with this lump of iron for company. I swear to gods it started talking to me not long ago.
The iron started to talk to me. I like this guy's personality, and I like how he is. There's something funny about the trope of somebody breaking out into song when their life has gone downhill as a way to cope with what's going on. There's something funny about that because in real life, if you did it, people would just look at you, and maybe you would even look at yourself and be like, "What is going on?" But at the same time, in real life, when you've hit rock bottom, nothing you do seems to matter, and you don't even care about people's opinions anymore. You feel so free when you're left with nothing.
Oh,
What do you want me to do?
I
What do you
left
do?
that life behind quite a while ago.
He doesn't craft
All I'm
anymore.
interested in these days are runestones.
Right, yeah, because he makes runestones. Sorry, yeah. I remember. So, I already know all about them.
Good.
You just... Okay,
I'm glad to hear it. And it should be a relief for you to know that you'll find a lot of them out there. I'd say that since you know what you're looking for, you should be able to find more of them out there. By the way,
What else can you do with these runestones? Well, I want him to come to my village, too. Can I have a conversation with you? I didn't mean to go right into a shop. You can add one different upgrades to add mythical or rares. I can also just buy a bunch of them. Rare runestones as rewards. I have no... How do I get this? Runestone dust. Every time you merge runestones, you earn some runestone dust. I think the merging mechanic is you get a copy of all of them, and then when you get 3 copies, you eventually merge them in the higher ones. I could use someone like you in my village.
you want me in your village? Well, you must first prove you can take care of yourself. Kill 10 bears and...
Here we go, fetch quest.
Just fooling, for pity's sake.
Oh, good.
What would I need 10 bears for? Show me the way.
That's a good way of making fun of this idea of like a fetch quest, because it doesn't really make sense for many characters or many games or many pieces of media when somebody's like, yeah, do this thing for me and then I'll maybe join you. Otherwise, fuck off. But it's like, okay, you're out here alone. I think you need me more than I need you. If you end the turn with more than 4 cards in hand, gain +1 energy next turn. Or if you end the turn with unused energy, gain +2 energy next turn. I usually sometimes don't have a good thing to do during a single turn, so maybe it's better to save the energy and try to do it from there. Increase damage by 2, or at the end of turn, because it depends on which slot you go into. In the first turn of combat, draw 1 additional card and cost reduced by 10. Every turn increase everyone's damage by 10%. Sorry, I didn't mean to burp there. That plus rage is going to make me outscale everyone, and also it's going to be like a whoever dies first type of deal. We'll go here. That was a bad choice. I should have gone down to fight that one inside the middle. You're going to redirect everything. And you will deliver more attacks. That's very unfortunate, actually. Use a weird candle, just for later. Stun you now. Block. I'm gonna get the ability to use my Weird Hunter and do 1 million damage. Good stun. Tainted Force reduces all armor of all enemies for this combat. Don't use Rage, just in case I'm gonna die. This is better. And now we use Rage on this guy who has nothing left and no safety. Now I can just kill him. This is a great build. Oh, there's someone here. Hey. Armed Wanderer.
It's good to meet you.
Hey, it's you again.
traveller. There's something I'd like to ask you, if you have the time.
I do. What do you need?
There's a Brock somewhere out there.
A what?
It's a prison in which they're keeping my innocent friend.
How do we know that?
A man who trained me and taught me everything I know about combat. Whenever I get close, there's some force which prevents me from entering it. So I'm unable to break my friend out. Maybe you'll have more luck. Could I ask you to help him out, so he doesn't rot away in a cell?
There's something funny about this concept, this idea of like how helping someone out of their sentence. This is a very common trope within these sort of fictional stories. And I always wondered this because doesn't that automatically make you and them bad? Unless... Actually, I take that back. There's always a miscarriage of justice somewhere. I kind of forgot about that. I'm going to forget a card because I think that's better for my deck to have less cards. Although an advanced card does sound pretty good. Power Blow. Deal 1 hit for 750 damage and draw 2 less cards next turn. Or offer to get a draw, which I saw last time. Or deal 1 hit for 100% damage. And you chain. Multiplies the card's effect by the number of cards of the same type played in a row during the turn. Too many words. Power Blow. Thank you, sir. Journal pages. What's a journal page? What? Oh. Unlocks. We're gonna go over here, fight this thing. I'm running out of weird candles, so this is bad. But that's sort of the consequences of my actions. Again, farming a lot of things means that you will eventually end up in a fight where you have too much weird around you, and maybe that's bad, but at least you're having... At least... Yes, I'm going to waste it because of my card. At least if you're good at the game, you can kind of ignore the impact of how of like what's going to happen and how much it affects you. Deal a 1 hit for 550% damage, and you cleave, which is what? Deals 20% of damage to all enemies. That's pretty good. Reduce damage dealt by all enemies by 30% for 3 turns, protection from evil. Or Rapid Attack. Deal 6 hits for 30% damage to random enemies. Each hit reduces enemies' armor by 4 until the end of combat. No, we just go for cleave. Yeah. Increases their armor by 25. Increases maximum damage you deal by 6. Starts every combat with 10 ultimate charges. Perfect. This is an ultimate game. Good. There's something so fun about these games. And this one in particular, because there's so many different ways that you can lean into your build, and because it feels so much more consistent than like a pure RNG system, it feels way more engaging. Compared to, I think, the usual where it's like... It can be hard to get this much luck. Which, granted, that's sort of the point, but man, it just feels so good. I can do this, sure. Over its wing. Attack. Might as well do this and kill him. 241. Wow. That wasn't really worth fighting him, actually. So, where's the boss? The boss is over there. There is a weird stone over here that I can take the candle from. Or a milestone, sorry. I didn't, because I need this candle. Pack of enemies and a skull over there, which looks kind of cool. But there's 2 enemies here and an NPC over here. We'll do this. We'll go into that side afterwards. Fortune, a cursed healer, not a fortune teller. What is all this? Who are you? Shaman, right? Totems, okay, and then this. I can do an instant power blow. For 66 to 99. Jesus. Jesus. You're dead. Wow. Do this. Lock. That was amazing. This still increases the damage of all allies at the start of each turn. Oh shit. How about I just kill him with a single skull cracker? Look at this. Whoa. This doesn't seem fair. I feel like you just win the game with high damage
You hear
rates.
someone screaming nearby.
You look interesting.
Godless healing. Godless healing.
Godless healing.
Intrigued, you approach the source of the sound. It turns out to be a joyful man advertising his merchandise to the nearest trees.
Godless healing.
Who said you need an all-mother or a stag father to have a blessing of health? Let's not dwell on them anymore. It's all about potions and elixirs and other trinkets infused with proper...
His monologue goes on. You can see tiny horns growing from his skull. His mind clearly isn't quite right either. Maybe disrespecting the gods wasn't such a great idea after all.
It is interesting how many different pieces of media have this push and pull against what is effectively what I think, in some ways is a form of science, right? And with the idea of like a god. Because you see it in games like Castlevania, you see it in games like this, where like, oh, they decide to do all these things, like make motorcycles, let's say in the case of Castlevania. And because of that, God smote him, and now he's a vampire, but not really. That's not really. But you know what I mean? Like it's interesting to sort of see the eternal struggle between these two sides play out. And I wonder how we even got here in the first place. You heal, you create barriers to buff everyone. You had to die first, actually. Get blow. These two are useless. Perfect. You die next. You do an attack. You do this. I do just hopefully you will get one shot. Really close. I save energy and we're good. Random attack. Small strikes. You can't beat this. Mysterious Witch.
The woman inspects you carefully, her old, tired
yes.
eyes contradicting her youthful face.
Do you know me? Have you shaped
I
me
do
out of the
remember
weirdness,
this character,
or
I
have I
think.
just created you?
She carries all the equipment you'd expect of a traveling witch, but she speaks in a soft, courtly manner. She also seems to know more about weirdness than you do, and traverses it without a weird candle.
Who are you?
I was traveling from the colony to Mangrove Huddle when the storm of weirdness overtook me. I wandered among ghosts and echoes until my feet were sore, until I found you.
Colony? Mangrove Huddle? You've never heard of such places.
I'm growing more and more certain you're not real. Can you pinch yourself? Do you feel pain?
She talks like she's from California or something. You know what I mean? This idea of like, I was traveling from this place to that place, and now I'm here. It's something about that like tonality that feels almost too modern. But at the same time, maybe people did speak like that back then. Did you know, for instance, that a name like Tyler, despite being a very modern name, is apparently one of the oldest names or something? It's some name like that. We just don't ever really consider the true place of things. We just sort of assume that it has a place in time and space because of the way that it sounds, and so we think to ourselves, oh, maybe this is out of place, or maybe it shouldn't be here. But the truth is, it's basically impossible to tell when something should be in a certain place. There's a lot of variability in the world, but maybe this is what English courts did sound like. Maybe this is what English royalty did sound like. That's why it became so popular, right? Join me in my village.
She listens to your invitation with patient condescension.
You say you have a menhir.
A what?
How silly. You can own an item or a piece of rock, but not a being of weirdstone.
I don't like the ways that she's talking to me.
Have a better idea. I'll invite you to my village. But first, I'll need proof that you're real.
She talks to me like a teacher that is sort of excited to hear from their student that they believe that, there's a monster under their bed. And because it's their opportunity not to teach them correctly, but to just put them down. What do you mean?
I know there is a man out there, wandering with a fading candle. He's desperate for light, yet he doesn't know that there is no light that could guide him back home. First, find him.
I swear I
and
did
help
see
him
him.
realize this simple truth. And then, when he's broken, guide him to his real destination.
She starts rummaging for something in her possessions.
Oh, and take this. It might come in handy. Maybe. Someday.
Wasn't that the guy who took my candle? She gives me a bottle. Sure. Ask her to help you own your
What could
skills.
it be
Sure.
that you think you need?
Okay.
I have to warn you that nothing is free here.
I would hate to walk into her store. Forget that the 5 cards requires 75 max health. Oh, I remember this option. This is why I remember her. This option removes without the 5 cards, but it sets your max health to like 30. A random stat boost or weird candles. I think I want to go stronger. You lost 10 health and you got 10 armor, which is, I guess, okay. Conscious darkness. What is darkness? Conscious darkness. Sure. I have good potions. We go over here. Shit's getting crazy. It's fine. We're gonna be okay. Hunting grounds. Maybe I should have done the boss instead, and then, you know, gone into that fight and done it before I lost all of my weird candles, because when you get to 0 weird, shit gets really weird. Hey, my cards are gone. Good. That's cool. Nice. First slash. Good at. You know what? It doesn't matter. I have a ton of potions. I'll be okay. Hunting grounds.
The local hunters call this ancient skull the Stag Father.
Stag Father.
And lay charms and offerings around it. The legends say the Stag Father takes the dreamers away to join him on a great hunt.
Yo, let's go on a great hunt. Risk sleeping in this dangerous place. Take me, Father. On a great, wondrous hunt. Deranged Red Priest. This is the shielder. This is the damage dealer. This is the healer. I think we kill the shielder. Do this. Kill a block. And we simply save. Next turn I get +2 energy. Which I was hoping to get something really cool. Create 10 barrier in all enemies. If not, lose 10% of your current HP. What the fuck? Dude? Okay, well, don't buff anyone. Just block that. Okay, good. Power below. Here we go. This will kill anybody. You die. And then you die. I should have killed you to take no damage. That was a bit of a troll. We do this. We do this. We save for next turn. This is such a broken build. Wow. Do this. Get some rage. Might as well. Just for free. What? Does he like my hunt? The hunt was successful and you feel the Stag Father's gratitude. Forget 2 skills, discard 2 cards, or restore health. I have potions. I'd rather trim my deck down, get rid of these attacks. Perfect. Thank you, Stag Father. It's darkness. This isn't good. This is the boss, too. The Golem. And there's 4 bosses, and I do remember this portion of the game. You have to kill all 4 bosses to do something, but which I'm not sure of. Awakened Golem. The end of this boss will spawn a new enemy after being stunned or suffering several hits. Stun will permanently reduce its armor. It will also lose some armor at every few turns. Every turn increases its damage and occasionally inserts special cards into your deck. Okay, well, how about we heal up first? How about we do stun you? We do first slash, random attack. Okay, he didn't get stunned. Whenever the awakened golem is crumbling, stones fall off his body and come back to life as minions. When they're killed, they can add helpful cards to your hand. Sure. I'll block 1. Hopefully he attacks me first. Next turn I lose 2 energy. Fuck. That's really bad. This does 40 to 61. Not quite yet. Oh! A gamble. Gain 1 block and 1 energy, draw 1 card, offer 10 armor until the end of combat. Only available when facing the awakened golem. Sure. Do a rage here, which is really good. Overhead swing on this guy. Do... Can this kill him? Yes, 78 to 117. For sure kill him. Seize the opportunity. Only available when facing the awakened golem. Deal a bonus hit. 2 blocks. 3 hits. Might as well. It seems awful. That doesn't really seem good to use. He could kill me in 1 go. Risk. Stun the golem. Lose 10 armor until the end of combat. How about we don't do that? Charge. We do this. And we do a small strike. You will eventually shed after 3 more hits. Stun the golem. Lose 10 armor. No need. I can do this. Increase the armor or next turn draw 3 cards less. Fuck. Do this. I block it, which is really good. And now I go for a very strong attack, which is this. In a way, it's really good that I have mostly skills that deal a lot of damage in 1 go. Damn, that's a really good skill. A gamble. Gain 1 block and 1 energy. Draw 1 card. Offer 10 armor until the end of my block. So I block 2 of its hits. He does 18 to 25. I don't need to stun him. I can go for Broad Reach Skull Cracker. Holy hell. Okay, I forgot that he would spawn something right afterwards. Kill this immediately. Seize the opportunity for 74. He's dead. That was very lucky that I do so much damage. If I didn't have rage, I think I would have lost because I misplayed that in many different ways. One weird candle, very handy. And a new card. Discard your hand and deal 0 hits for 75% damage. Raging Blade, 1 hit for each card discarded. Deal 1 hit for 150 damage, return 3. Card stays in your hand after it was played. It can be played a limited number of times in a single turn. Wow, advanced attack. I wonder if it changes form as it comes back. Pure luck, though.
The
Very good.
golem collapses and shatters into thousands of pieces at your feet. You feel a strange surge of power in the air.
I'm strong.
Suddenly, a familiar creature appears.
The goat?
Good.
Yes,
That was
hello.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You instantly recognize this voice. It's the goat-legged creature you've met before.
You see, the problem with weirdness is that it's an uncontrollable mess. It's the something you want. Really, really want. Snap your fingers. Here you go. There it is, right in front of you.
He looks at you, clearly unimpressed by the fact that you even exist.
If you're Avalonian, that is. You, people of the homelands, never found out how to control this power.
It's a very interesting angle to go for. Where the people back in Great Britain had no power, or back in Great England had no power, and these Avalonians that broke away have power in this new strange land. What's interesting is, isn't that technically Canada, the way that we broke away from them? Are we the Avalonians with the ability to create things out of thin air? Have I forgotten some long-held power within my heritage?
And the problem is that you tried, because obviously you did. You know which human emotion is the strongest.
I actually don't know. Love?
Yes, and every answer was correct. All of these emotions made an impact on the force that surrounds us, that envelops this island, and it tried to give back.
Oh, it wants to help us.
You hate
maybe,
somebody,
right?
wish them death,
Oh.
snap of your fingers, and here you go. A clear personification of your feelings standing right in front of you. However, since you're not a four-armed Avalonian wizard, you can't control it, can you?
He pauses, his expression one of hesitance. Maybe he said too much.
I wonder what that sentence means. Did he say too much, as if to say that the Avalonians look a particular way, or that the power of this island is driven by emotions? Or did he say too much by accidentally implying that we could control it if only we knew how to, and once we become aware, it's not so much a matter of who we are, but our capabilities?
Anyway, as I've said before, good job. There are 3 more of those for you to get rid of, and then we can call it a day. This day, this time, in this timeline. Also, another path opened for you, with another surprise at the end. Oh, and before you go, I have even more good news for you. Yes, you guessed right. You deserve a reward.
Yay! Take a special passive skill. Or remove 1 card from the deck. One of these is not nearly as cool as the other. This one sounds really cool. This one's like, yeah, sure. After killing an enemy, heal yourself for 2 HP. Each 10th card played in 1 combat increases your damage by 10% until the end of combat. Draw 2 more cards in the first turn of combat. Power circulation sounds cool. Well, you know what? He said, oh yeah, do kill 2 more to end your day. Well, my day is actually over. Because I'm done with this game. Again, it's very, very fun. But with all card games, it's important to remember when you're playing a card game to give yourself time and space and to stop playing the game at some point and to put like a hard time limit, because if you're not careful, you could end up spending your entire day playing these games. This game in particular has that effect because there's so much to discover, right? Most card games don't have a narrative. Most card games don't really have this like interesting way that you can almost focus on a build and build yourself up into a particular type of playstyle. Very few card games sort of have that without a lot of trial and tribulation and a lot of RNG, whereas this one, it feels easier to access. And all wrapped up in a package that continually lures you in with this premise, with this with this sense of like adventure and wonder in this world that you don't really know, and with a very, in my mind, unique fantasy setting that you don't really get in other places. Like, it's a very interesting setting, and it's a very interesting use of the classic Arthurian legend to tell this story with its own unique elements and its own take on what feels like the idea of eldritch horrors, but wrapped up within a more almost semi-grounded sense of what it must have felt like if the world was full of creatures and magic, the way that these myths and legends, dreamed the world to have been. That's ever Tainted Grail Conquest. The Fall of Avalon game is apparently really good. Continues the story, or maybe even like it's set in the same universe, but I don't know if it continues. But either way, if you like the vibes of this, that game is apparently an Elder Scrolls like, but with this, I'm just waiting for that game to exit early access. But I'm glad that they did a sale on this game, because I feel like more people should know about this game. I got really addicted to it on the Games Pass, to like 50 to 60 hours roughly. And I got pretty decently far, I think, to the second or third boss. I wasn't really good at the game, mind you, but I've gotten better. And it was fun to sort of see and play through and understand these stories. And because it's been so long since I played it, I've forgotten them. So I get to re-experience them all again by myself. Not that I'll ever play this again on stream. Playing these games on stream, again, card games are interesting in that it can be very difficult for people to want to watch you play a card game. Not that I care about what you want me to do or what I want you to watch, but I don't want to subject you to that sort of pain and suffering. It's like watching somebody do a test or an exam. It's like watching... Actually, what's crazy, if I go to YouTube, if I go to youtube.com, study with me. Wow, there's a lot of different variations. Okay, I'm not even kidding you. The search list is study with me 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Like, somebody's gonna come up with study with me 5 hours, and then the whole genre has opened up again. We are entering like new unprecedented territories. We might even enter the like 16-hour mark, where like somebody studies the entire day. And they keep studying. You know what? Is there pull an all-nighter? There's a pull an all-nighter with me category. Holy shit. Have I been missing out on this my entire life? There's a pull an all-nighter with me category. I was gonna say playing card games is like watching somebody study, but I guess not. Claire with me. Pull an all-nighter with me. Okay? You have one night before the final. Buddy, you're walking around, you're talking to the camera too much for being a single night away from your final. Wow. Guys, pull an all-nighter with me to solve a contractor project that I signed a contract for that I didn't get finished. Anyways, thanks for watching. This game is fun, but I won't subject you to this live. Although maybe I'll subject you to another topic live. Over multiple hours. Maybe we do a programming thing. Maybe I just release a programming ASMR thing where you hear me every like 2 hours say fuck